The Barnstable Police Department is taking an active role when it comes to homelessness and drug addiction in our community. To learn more about the department's recent efforts, Channel 18's Sarah Colvin talks with Police Chief Paul McDonald on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, March 9th, 2016. I'm Sarah Mantle.
A number of things to talk about today. A lot of kind of newsy items in the newspaper this morning. Yesterday, here at Town Hall, there was a meeting of the Transitional Living Center of Cape Cod Steering Committee. That's the group that's working to kind of find a new place for the homeless shelter. And quite a lengthy meeting, well attended, held. And I understand that there were several sites that were identified as possible locations for the shelter to move.
Well, this meeting has been going on for last year and a half, and of course a number of people have called for the movement of the shelter. And of course, two biggest questions come to mind is first, where is it going to go, and then who's going to fund it. And yesterday was the first time that we actually came out with several locations that we were looking at for the possible moving of the shelter. And it really boils down to just three locations. One is the Finney's Lane location, Finney's Lane, Route 132. The other is 114 Iron Ore Road down at the corner of Yarmouth Road, Route 28. And the other one was off of Bayshore Road to the rear of Cape Cod Hospital. And there were a number of things that we're looking at, trying to place a shelter. The problem with the shelter where it is right now, it's just a block off our main area. So when we move it, we do not want to create another problem. So we were looking for some special characteristics that we can place the shelter in, and one had to be a non-residential, not adjacent to a school, not within a village, a main street of any of the 7 villages. We need a minimum of 1 acre because of the type of facility that we're looking to build. We would have to have it provided by public transportation. If possible, probably the ideal solution would have a sewer connection to it. And again, we did not want it on a gateway. We did not want a Route 132, Route 28, or West Main Street. The first thing people see coming into the downtown high ends would be the shelter, and then of course the financing. How are we going to pay for this? The public and private funds combination. And right now they're looking at the 132, and my objection to the 132 parcel, of course it's right here across the street from where the PD is that certainly is a major gateway. 132 right off Route 6, that's the main gateway coming into town, coming into downtown Hyannis. 132 is where all the mall is. It's a heavily traveled road. The parcel of land is a significant parcel of land. It's owned by the county. It's 5 acres. But we're looking at it, and it's something we have to look more at is the site planning, how we're going to site the building on the property so it's not facing 132, so it cannot be seen from the roadway. And as we know, it backs up to Addicts Lane, so the main access into the shelter from that location would be on Addicts Lane. So that's it certainly is a viable spot, but it's nothing's been ruled out right now.
So, Chief, would that be directly across 132 from where the police station is right now?
No, it's Kitty Corner. Directly
okay.
Across is a state-owned property, and it would be on the other side. There are 4 corners. 2 of the corners on 132 and Finney Lane. They're just open land. The other 2 corners is the PD's on one side, and then the state owns the other one. And they just they keep their salt and sand there for the DOT Highway Department. They can pick up this when it snows. That's where they store all the sand and salt there. So it's this parcel land. Although it's a gateway, there is no residential homes around it. There is minimal commercial around it. But again, it just has to be hidden because we do not want this the first thing to see when tourists come into our community. One of the biggest reasons we want this off of Main Street is because Main Street is a tourist destiny, and we don't want the shelter down there, and we want to correct the situation. We don't want to make it any worse.
Sure, and I would think the proximity to the police station may be a good thing, may not be a good thing. But just having it close to that. Your thoughts on just having it so close to your headquarters?
I don't mind it being close to the PD. Again, the homeless problem is not a criminal problem. I mean, they're not criminals. It's more of a quality of life issue. the PD, where the PD is, the close proximity to us, I don't think really makes a difference. But I think the type of shelter is what's really going to make a difference, because we're looking for a 35-bed shelter. We're looking for it to be transitional. We don't want anybody to use it as a permanent residence. We want people to come in there, get the services they need, and then transition out into some type of housing or some type of homes. And that's the big thing. And the biggest problem we have right now is no shelter. We can't have that model, up here on 132. So we're looking at a total different scenario here.
The other locations you mentioned, 114 INO Road,
Yes.
Bayshore Road. What can you tell me about those potential locations?
114 INO Road. That was probably the one I would prefer. That's down off Route 28, right in the corner of Yarmouth Road, Route 28 to the gas station at Christie's Market. The next lot to it is for sale. It's approximately 1.3 acres. It backs up to the watershed, the highest waterfield back there, so there is no residential development back there. But what's best about the lot, it's a long lot. It's rather narrow, but it's deep. So if you put the shelter there, you can move it quite a ways off the frontage of Route 28, and then you would have access to the property off of Yarmouth Road. So basically on Route 28, you would not see the shelter at all. So I did like that. The problem is it's close proximity to the airport, and of course all kinds of regulation when you come to the airport. And unfortunately, we found out most recently is that it's in the crash zone. If any property is in the crash zone, it's not going to be available for any type of federal funding or grants. So of course, most shelters, they depend on the grants, they depend on help from the federal government, state government. If the federal government is out of play here, that's probably going to rule that piece of property out.
Absolutely. And then Bayshore Road, I would think this is, again, probably the third out of the group. That seems to be in more of a residential area if we were talking about down to the hospital.
Correct. Bayshore Road, that's something that came up yesterday. I drove by it yesterday afternoon. It is a significant piece of property. From what I understand, it is owned by the Cape Cod Hospital, so I don't even know if we would have access to it. They might be holding it for some type of, if they're going to expand. I have no idea. The closest thing around it is a bunch of man-made cranberry bogs. I don't even know if they're being used anymore. And, of course, you have East Main Street. And, of course, East Main Street is considered somewhat of a gateway coming off Route 28 from the west coming into Hyannis. But it is a significant piece of property and a lot of things you could do with that particular property. And, again, I don't know if it's on sewers. Sewers is a huge plus for us. If we can get it on a sewer line, that would really help us out.
Absolutely. So what's next, Chief? I understand there's going to be a feasibility study done, and that will be hopefully complete by the time the group meets next.
Right, and we're looking at the siting. How if we go to any of these properties, how is the building going to sit on the property? So it's not going to be visible. It's not going to be deterrent to our community, and it's going to fulfill the needs. And the biggest thing is getting all the services on board. So when the people do come in, they use the shelter. It's going to be like a campus style facility where you stay there and then you get the help you need, then you transition out. So there's still a lot of work to go.
Absolutely. Well, Chief, thank you for the update. The other topic I wanted to talk about is news, kind of a discussion about changes to some laws up on Beacon Hill, kind of stemming from a program that's been operating in Gloucester that some police chiefs across the state are in favor of, but it seems most of the chiefs here on Cape Cod are not. And I know that you and I, Chief, have talked about the Good Samaritan law and the issues that solves, and this is kind of seeking to amend that. So tell me a little bit about what this bill would do and your thoughts on it.
They're amending the law because what they've done up in Gloucester, they're saying that if you come in, if you're a drug addict, and if you come into the PD, with your drug paraphernalia or with your drugs, you will not be charged, and you will be connected with an individual which will provide you the services that you need. The question comes up is, who's given the police the authority to say we're not going to arrest you? I mean, you certainly have a discretion not to arrest, but you can summons them in, or you can bring them into court for some other way. But just simply not to charge them, I'm not sure you have the legal ability to do that. And I saw in the paper today that it says all the Cape Chiefs were opposed to this. Nobody asked me, so
well, we're asking you now.
No, I'm still looking at it. I mean, the program is still relatively new. I haven't seen any facts. How successful is it? We do something a little bit different down here. We have our community impact unit. We have our own social service worker working with us directly, and we are teamed up with Gosnell. So we go out there every Tuesday. We know who have overdosed in the last couple of days. So every Tuesday we pull all those reports. and the community service officers, with Gosnell, goes out and they meet with them. They meet with the individuals. They meet with the family, and some of them it's been very, very successful. I mean, they say, okay, I'll go. I'll take the help. What do you want me to do? We put them in a cruiser. We bring them down to Gosnell, and they get the treatment they need. That's being a little more proactive, I think. What Gosnell's doing, what Gloucester is doing, is they wait for the individual to come in. That's kind of reactive. And again, there are some questions. They've given them, say, well, we're not going to charge you, and I'm not sure the police department has the authority to do that.